Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. Hope everybody's doing great out there. So, we have some interesting events to take a look at. And, in these times, we have to look at everything maybe a little bit deeper than what it seems on the surface. Right here, we see a U.S. Air Force helicopter was shot at over Virginia, injuring crewmen and forcing an emergency landing. And so, this was a Huey helicopter, and this was out of Andrews, and it had to make an emergency landing. Now, who is going to shoot at a U.S. Air Force helicopter? That's question number one. As we've talked about, there's tension building here, and honestly, guys, my dreams the last like 3 nights have been all about these times, and yeah, I tend to get these visions, and it's definitely a time where we have to be very well prepared for anything that could happen. And it's curious. So who did this? Was this again? We had talked about the whole incident with the president and the shooting outside of the White House, and was that again just one random individual, which it appears to be at this moment. He was a little bit deranged. So is this somebody that's simply deranged? Or, is this a sleeper cell taking a pot shot and seeing what it can do? Or is this perhaps a different group that is testing the waters and maybe pushing things to a new level? Remember, we talked about yesterday the steps to insurrection and revolution in that PDF that comes out of Fort Bragg. And it does come from the 60s. It was revised in 2016. And it appears that, the standard operating procedure that the U.S. has engaged in for, decades and decades, overthrowing different regimes, is now being applied to the U.S. And here we see a Scotland trail derailment in Stonehaven. It is an extremely serious incident. Now, this one is perhaps more earth change related than it is perhaps something that would be what we would call terrorist related, or something along those lines. Because they did say it appeared that from saturation, from all the rain, the abnormal amount of rain, that there was ground movement that perhaps caused the tracks to be no longer stable and the train to derail. And so, not a good situation over here. Right now, they're showing 3 people that are dead, unfortunately. And here's another photo of what the wreckage looks like. A pretty severe derailment. And honestly, if you're looking at it like that, and that is if it is a full train, it could have been worse than the loss of 3 lives, which of course is 3 lives too much. And over here we see Stone Mountain, Georgia is bracing for another armed protest. Oh, hold your breath on this one. It's when is it going to come? And we've talked about this, to direct confrontation. I think it's getting closer and closer, where you're going to have the right against the left, so to speak, in armed confrontation. I do think that we're getting very close to that, unfortunately, and that has been so manipulated and built up by these powers that be. So you have hundreds of members of a black militia turning heads on July 4th as they marched with assault rifles, shotguns, and other firearms to Stone Mountain and its famous Confederate memorial. Now, several far-right groups, including militias and white supremacists, are planning an answer rally on August 15th. And a broad coalition of leftist, anti-racist groups are organizing a counter-demonstration. Local authorities who have been closely monitoring online chatter about the rally are bracing for possible conflict. the city of Stone Mountain last week issued a public warning about the planned demonstrations and asked locals to stay away. I think everybody should stay away from that, because when you're talking that type of demonstration, that is nothing but just trouble coming. Yeah, it's nothing but trouble. This is the type of thing that will kick off, this. It's hard to imagine it, but guerrilla warfare type of situation here in this country, it's just deteriorating so fast, and it's a very, very sad thing. And as I've told you guys, I've gotten visions and dreams of these times going back to 1984, and just a couple days ago, after waking up and kind of in that in-between state, I was seeing exactly that. There were armed groups that were basically battling each other, and then people that were injured were just basically being executed. It was horrible, and I am very concerned that we're close to that type of event coming here. So let cooler heads prevail. If you want to go do some sort of protest, the way that this is coming about is going to be nothing but really feeding the fire that's going to lead to just more unrest, anarchy, and taking of some innocent lives probably as well. If you could imagine what it would look like if you got two of these armed groups starting to square off against each other, with other people just trying to walk about and enjoy their city. It's not good. They actually even have groups that are coming in from Arkansas as well. So this could be a major event brewing, and not a good event. So let's pray for peace over there. And we had said, what about all these explosions going on? So this was in Russia from a day ago. We have a gas station explosion, massive one, injures at least 13. And they were thinking it was caused by static electricity as fuel was being pumped to an underground storage tank. So is this more a case, instead of an espionage type event, of an earth change event perhaps, or just a regular old accident that could happen any time? But we were talking about the increase in plasma, the increase in energy. I did cover a lot of unusual events about a year ago, saying why were all these planes falling out of the sky, because there had been, and it still probably is ongoing, I would suspect, an uptick in plane crashes, for instance, gas line explosions, as the planet's going through major changes here. So we have so many things going on at the same time. And again, this all breeds caution. Of course, if you're just at the gas station pumping gas, what could you do if something like this happens? It's just one of those things people would say is an act of God. And I just wanted to invite everybody to come check out our website if you haven't yet. And anybody that's in need of energy healing or any sort of spiritual counseling, just reach out to us at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com or EEARTS@protonmail.com, and we'll set up a time to schedule an appointment. Thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Stay safe, stay prepared, God bless, and namaste.